So, moving on to number two, time. Now, we like putting this chart in the middle just to show the progression over the last, what's that, over the last 50 years, 70 years
Yeah.
of just where people come from, where we spend our time, what we're doing with our time. This is all pretty normal stuff. In the next few seconds, you'll see that kind of ramp up as the internet births itself. And unfortunately, as all of us experience, the irony that we're on a Zoom call right now. And post-COVID, the whole world just moved straight into Zoom calls. I remember a time when you just called people. I've actually started doing that more now, ringing people. And about one in four, I ring them. They're like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah." They're like, "What do you want?" I was like, "Just ringing you.
Yeah.
Not, can we book a Zoom call in? When are you free?" I'm just ringing you like I used to ring you. And it brings me so much joy.
Spontaneous time. I think as
Mm.
well that the thing to look at this in terms of what we call harsh stats and how time ends up in being a vacuum for you is because you get older, time changes. Everyone says the years change, years speed up every time. But there's some harsh things here. But by the age of 40, 80% of your memorable life moments are already behind you. When your child is age 12, you'll have spent about 75% of the time you're ever going to spend with them. The average lifespan is around 77 currently. So that means middle age is 38. And by age 21, you've lived about 50% of your life perceptually. So whatever your age you are, the harsh stats are there. And we broke it down a little bit further. If you want to take, this was from Wait, But Why? We broke down a 90-year into months.
If you have a look here, you also as well have seen this one on the one thing 1 year landing page. They're all the same. I just simplified it down. This is we're assuming you've already lived these little sections here. Your 30th birthday will be here. Every single one of these dots represents, sorry,
Month.
each row is 36 months, 3 years.
Yeah.
So this yellow section is how much time you're going to spend sleeping.
Asleep.
Orange, eating and preparing food, shopping. Green is working. The unaccounted for is brushing your teeth. It's all of the little things that just happen in between. And all of this is based on studies, by the way. And then this, 6 years, that's what you get, approximately. But then you can start to question, well, what quality of life? Because this is all based on you reaching 90. So obviously this is dispersed in between. But the question that you really start to look at is if the average person spends 7 hours a day on a screen, then what does that mean for what's coming, for what we're doing? And it sounds really morbid, some of this stuff, but like it's your life and it's my life and it's our life. And we need these things sometimes to make us go, okay, what do I actually want to do? Because otherwise, and I've said this so many times on calls, the only inevitable endpoint is death, right? Which means somewhere between now and then, we either choose to carry on or do something different, whatever that might be. And that's why when on the slide before we talk about by the time you're 21, you've lived 50% of your life perceptionally. And that's because we have put things in buckets by the time we're 21. We have got used to things. Novelty reduces itself. New experience reduces itself. And even when we do things afterwards, we say, well, that's like that. And so if we're wanting to experience anything different around there, then all we have to do is do something different, bring some change, some novelty into it to bring meaning, because that's the difference between waking up 1 week and saying, wow, what a week, and not doing. Because none of us, and if we go back to this one of the number one things that this says is the number one regret for the dying is, I wish I didn't work as much. Nobody said, oh, wow, I'm glad I did that 5 a.m. call so often. That's not a thing that was passed across. So new experiences, novelty, all of these things start to bring extra life into our life.
And we like to talk about awe, but at the end of the day, there's lots of ways to kind of think about time. We've got another whole framework in terms of how to deploy your time week on week. But this is another framework we have. It's an investing framework. It follows the type of person you are, where you're at in terms of whether you're surviving, striving, or thriving, and the actions to take in terms of investing at that point. But you will likely treat your time just like you treat your money. And you kind of need a framework, a way to think about it. And based on your money blueprint, at one of these levels, which will dictate your success. But as it relates to time, that what we find is when someone's in survive mode, they naturally will start to waste money and they will waste their time. They won't use it in the right way because they're kind of avoiding something. When they get to the point where they think, right, I'm going to do something, then it's naturally they're at the point where they're investing, right? They're investing their time and they're investing their money. And when you get to what we call thriving, when you've decided what you want and you know that you don't need to be a billionaire, you know that you don't need to accumulate anymore, you've moved out the trap because you've really defined what you want life to look like, well, then you get to decide how to choose how, when, and where to spend your time and your money, right?
Well, I can talk about time all I want. I can give you all of these frameworks, but this was me in February, March this year. I don't put this on as an accolade. I almost drove myself. I actually thought I went through a midlife crisis, but then I only didn't because I thought, well, I love everything I do. And I realized I was not planning my time. This is actually my calendar. This is 6 a.m. There's already a call here. I mean, I got up at 4 a.m. for this call today, which I love, by the way. You'll see I've moved. I'm no longer rocking in a mental asylum. My whole days were just packed every single day, 7 days a week, 12 hours a day. So much so that Fathom actually emailed me to say I'm in the top 0.01% of all users on the entire planet. And I got that. And 887 divided by
Yay.
365 is 2.5 Fathom calls a day, every day, all year. The sad thing at the minute, Rich, I'm on 620 and I only have looked at the last 3 months. And that was the big change that I started to make to reclaim my own time based on the frameworks and the models that we already knew work. And I put this here to hold my hand up to say, no one is perfect. Like meditating. You're meditating. What am I having for dinner? Chicken and chips. Meditating. We flick in and out of stuff, right? And so the point is when you identify that, do something about it.
Everyone can slip back in, right? But they always come
Yeah.
back to a framework.